You've stepped into a turning point that only a rare few ever touch. It's the kind of shift that doesn't wait for permission, doesn't bow to circumstance. It simply arrives, rewriting everything in its wake. The feeling in your chest right now isn't hesitation. It's the pulse of something vast unfolding through you. Every thread that once felt tangled is secretly weaving itself into a tapestry so exact, so deliberate, that no force could pull it apart. What looked like detours were actually bridges, and what seemed like silence was the echo of doors unlocking in unseen corridors. The alignment you're experiencing isn't chance. It's the culmination of countless unseen forces converging in your favor. It's the rhythm of a drumbeat you didn't know you were marching to, now thundering with clarity. While others scrambled to control appearances, you've been positioned for something deeper. Not by scrambling, but by being carried to the exact place where everything clicks. That's why the noise around you fell away, so the resonance of this moment could be heard. What you're walking into isn't a victory of inches, it's a sweep so undeniable that it shifts the ground beneath you. The kind of breakthrough that doesn't just close a chapter, it redefines the entire story. And the quiet, that isn't emptiness. It's the calm before the unveiling. It's the space where the weight of destiny presses in, steadying you for what comes next. You didn't stumble into this. You were placed, with precision, where triumph is not just possible, it's inevitable. And from here, every step forward confirms it. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership, it's your calling. You are the type who thrives in the pause, who knows that quiet spaces carry more voltage than chaos ever could. Others misinterpret your calm as hesitation, but beneath that stillness, currents are gathering, aligning themselves for a release so precise it will appear unstoppable when it arrives. What they see as emptiness is actually construction. While the world rushed to pile fragile victories on unstable ground, you've been setting foundations in depths no storm can touch. From the surface, it may look as though you've been frozen in place, but beneath that appearance, every layer has been fortified with intention. The miscalculation of your rivals is almost laughable. They've convinced themselves that your lack of movement is proof of defeat, that their blockades have hemmed you in, cutting off all routes forward. Their celebrations rise too early, blind to the fact that their assumptions rest on illusions, not reality. This pause is not resignation, it is edge. The most potent form of action sometimes arrives disguised as stillness. True mastery isn't about constant exertion, it's about sensing the rhythm of unfolding events and choosing the precise moment to align with forces already moving in your favor. Patience, when wielded with intent, is not passive at all. It is a sharpened stance, an invisible readiness. Those who mistake it for weakness cannot fathom the strength it takes to resist the urge for frantic motion, to hold steady until the world bends closer to your timing. Think of the ocean before a tidal surge. Vast, unmoving, deceptively calm, yet holding an inevitability that will swallow anything unprepared. In that space between still water and rising wave, you've claimed the rare ability to wait with purpose, to prepare without panic. You have learned to stand in the interval between what unfolds around you and the response you choose to release. In that breath, in that unhurried gap, lies your power. While others chase distractions in perpetual reaction, you remain anchored, turning pause into precision, silence into strength, and patience into a weapon few will ever know how to wield. Power rests in the silence you command, a silence born not of fear but of deliberate choice. To those watching from the outside, it may look like hesitation, but it is nothing of the sort. In that pause, horizons widen, possibilities multiply, and currents beyond their perception open themselves to you. What they call delay is actually communion with a greater order that their eyes are too clouded to see. Beneath the surface of ordinary appearances, Intricate alignments are quietly unfolding. The movements are precise, deliberate, and without waste. Each twist, each sudden redirection, each disappointment that once felt final has been a necessary element of design. Stripped of context, they may have seemed like random misfortunes, but together they form the scaffolding of something vast and unshakable. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. The narrative of your journey has been constructed far beyond the reach of immediate vision. What once felt like doors closing was actually a corridor being carved in secret. What once felt like collapse was the very fracture needed to reveal hidden strength. The decisive moment of victory is never a single blow. It is the culmination of countless unseen turns already guiding you forward. This unfolding has not been rushed, it has stretched across layers of preparation. Those who interpret your quiet as weakness cannot fathom the strength required to remain grounded while everything shifts around you. They confuse patience with indecision because they have never known the kind of certainty that makes waiting its own declaration of power. What looks like stagnation to the untrained eye is in fact precision beyond measure. What feels like delay is the recalibration of entire landscapes on your behalf. You reached for something small, and yet a path is being shaped towards something beyond what your imagination dared to sketch. You expected fragments, but a whole horizon has been set aside in your name. The weight pressing in on you now is not punishment, but transformation. A vessel cannot expand without tension, and growth never arrives without stretching the old boundaries until they threaten to burst. The strain you feel is evidence that the frame of your old self can no longer contain what you are becoming. Every moment of discomfort is proof of forward motion. The squeeze is a signal, the darkness a prelude, the pressure a teacher. Far from holding you back, these sensations are aligning you with the arrival of something greater than you ever thought possible. The pause is not emptiness, it is ignition waiting for its moment to blaze. Transformation this profound reshapes you so completely that the echoes of who you once were can barely be recognized in your current form. The position you now occupy doesn't exist in a single layer of reality. It stretches across overlapping dimensions of experience, weaving influence in ways that those around you cannot begin to perceive. Each choice you've made has been an erasure of outdated versions of yourself and a birth of new realities that never would have existed without your boldness. With every decision, the strands of limitation have been cut away, and the worlds where you remained diminished have been dismantled. The tension you feel in your body and mind isn't collapse. It's the sensation of reality bending under the weight of your expansion. Your awareness is stretching into territories it never touched before. Flickers of disorientation, restless nights, or fleeting distortions of reality are not signals of fragility but of capacity growing beyond its old boundaries. What once felt like too much to hold is now becoming the very fabric of your perception, opening you to spaces beyond the reach of ordinary understanding. And yet, this ascension was never designed for your benefit alone. The reverberations of your growth are moving far beyond your personal sphere. They are setting into motion patterns that will influence people you'll never speak to, moments you'll never witness, and outcomes that ripple forward into the unseen future. What feels heavy is simply the gravity of meaning. The weight pressing down on you is a sign of placement, not punishment. By embodying this new frequency of being, you create a stabilizing presence that allows others to rise in response. Every silent moment you hold this state, you emit a resonance that travels outward, sparking recognition in countless hearts, a quiet declaration that something more is possible, that another way of existing is within reach. This role makes you a forerunner, not for glory, but for evolution itself. The emergence of figures like you isn't for spectacle. It is for navigation, for charting unmapped territories of consciousness so that others may one day follow the coordinates you leave behind. What feels like your triumph is, in truth, a signal fire lit for the collective. And so, the victory unfolding through you belongs not just to you but to an entire species yearning for expansion. Your presence has become immovable, not because you retreat, but because you embody a foundation no strike can penetrate. Attacks that once pierced now dissolve on contact, and echoes of old pain lose their meaning before they can reach you. You are no longer shielded, you are the structure itself. The frequency you radiate now is so refined that resistance dissolves before it can touch you. There is no need to chase or force, because alignment itself has made you magnetic. People, circumstances, and opportunities gravitate toward you naturally, drawn to the resonance of someone living in harmony with their deepest design. Life itself seems to conspire on your behalf, arranging intersections with uncanny precision. What once required struggle now arrives with timing too precise to be coincidence. Your influence is felt not through loud effort, but through a presence that shifts the atmosphere simply by existing. Power flows when pretenses fall away, and authenticity becomes the only language you speak. There is no longer a compulsion to earn worth, for worth is no longer in question. The essence you embody commands acknowledgement without demand. No persuasion, no pleading, no striving, only the silent weight of certainty that others instinctively recognize. It is not performance, it is truth expressed as being. This current you carry cannot be reduced to charm or persuasion. It is the unshakable energy of someone who has located their center and refuses to abandon it. The stronghold you have become doesn't operate by exclusion but by resonance. What aligns is drawn close. What does not falls away without conflict. Your boundaries have transformed into invisible filters that separate noise from signal effortlessly. There is no fight, no defense, no resistance, only an energetic sorting that leaves you surrounded by what nourishes and untouched by what would drain. This is not hostility, but clarity. Attacks lose all impact because they cannot find purchase in your frequency. This evolution was forged through 1,000 unseen battles. Each time you leaned into growth instead of comfort, integrity instead of approval, truth instead of illusion, you hardened the core of your being. Every difficulty became material for resilience, every loss became structure for strength. Slowly, layer by layer, you built a foundation that nothing external could unsettle. Now you embody what once felt unreachable. Your existence alone defies the narratives of limitation that others cling to. For some, your presence ignites courage to expand. For others, it forces them to confront the fears they've avoided. You are no longer just a person. You are living proof of what becomes possible when someone refuses to shrink into the expectations of the ordinary. Perception has expanded into realms most will never glimpse, sharpening your awareness into something that cuts through appearances with ease. You no longer rely solely on surface-level signals. You sense the undercurrents beneath behavior, the intent behind gestures, the truth woven into silence. This heightened clarity isn't suspicion, it's discernment born from alignment. As your inner lens refines, the fog of fantasy and fear falls away. What remains is reality in its rawest form, unsoftened by illusions. With this elevation comes greater resistance, for systems built on control instinctively react against those who see too clearly. The closer your breakthrough approaches, the more chaotic the interference becomes. Obstacles multiply like static on a frequency, proof that your direction is correct. The past does not release easily. Old traps return disguised as new challenges, designed to siphon the very energy you need for acceleration. Doubt finds new voices, both within and around you, urging you to compromise, to retreat, to accept confinement as destiny. These voices are not truth, they are echoes of patterns that no longer define you. Distraction is the favored weapon of opposition. Pointless quarrels, cycles of rivalry, and shallow conflicts appear, tempting you to pour energy into games beneath your level. Their goal is simple: to lure you back into expired scripts where your power was once diluted. Your strength is in refusal. Attention is wealth, and where you spend it determines what thrives. Guarding your energy has become essential. It is no longer about defense through aggression, but stewardship of what fuels your rise. Some resistance will present itself as tangible setbacks, as doors closing, as opportunities inexplicably evaporating. Yet behind these surface expressions lies a deeper current, a collective inertia that resists evolution itself. You are not merely contending with individuals or situations. You are contending with the weight of centuries of conditioning, the inherited belief that transcendence has limits. Each step you take forward doesn't only elevate you, it threatens the comfort of structures built on keeping humanity contained. This is why the path feels heavy at times. But heaviness is proof of impact. Your very movement destabilizes what once seemed immovable. And though the pushback intensifies the closer you come, it is only a reflection of the magnitude of what you are carrying into existence. You are no longer playing within boundaries, you are dismantling them altogether. You are dismantling the very framework of limitation that most cling to as unchangeable truth. Each time you refuse to shrink into convenience, each time you continue despite ridicule, each time you keep moving when the ordinary choice would be surrender, you are altering the shared map of what humanity believes is possible. This is why opposition feels relentless. The shift you are making does not only reshape your personal path, it disrupts the balance of entire structures built on compliance. The pushback you encounter is not random, it's the system's attempt to preserve itself. Ironically, this resistance is the exact pressure sculpting you into greater strength than you imagined. Every barrier you encounter has secretly functioned as a tool. Each challenge has forced hidden skills to awaken, new layers of awareness to rise, deeper creativity to surface. What appears as obstruction is actually refinement. Those trying to slow you unknowingly sharpen your edge, serving your evolution while believing they are preventing it. The very adversaries working to confine you have unknowingly been accelerating your transformation. They are not destroying your momentum, they are revealing its depth. What you have achieved is not an accident placed in your hands, but a state of mastery created through enduring trial after trial. The breakthrough is not something you found, it's something you became. Victory did not arrive in spite of hardship, it arrived because of it. The fires meant to consume you forged an indestructible core. The most powerful tactic available now is silence around your next moves. Great strategists never announce their intentions. Power is preserved through concealment until the outcome is beyond interference. Your present stage requires discretion more than explanation. Guard the sacredness of your direction. Let your results speak louder than your declarations. Revealing plans too early scatters the energy required to manifest them. Your quiet is not avoidance, it is concentration, keeping your field intact and impenetrable. This stillness reverses old patterns where external approval once mattered. No longer do you leak energy through premature sharing. Instead, your mystery amplifies anticipation, surrounding you with an aura that magnifies the eventual unveiling. When your results appear, they will seem sudden and extraordinary to others, though they are the inevitable product of disciplined silence aligned with universal law. A turning point has taken root within you, altering forever the way you move through power. External validation is no longer a compass, and approval is no longer required. Direction rises from inside with such precision that instinct itself has become your guide, more reliable than any map drawn by another. This inner navigation radiates in a language far louder than speech. Confidence now travels with you as an unspoken signature. Even in silence, your presence communicates what explanation could never contain. Authority no longer needs to declare itself because it has become part of your essence. It is recognized instantly by those able to perceive it, and felt deeply by those who cannot explain why they are drawn to it. Your quiet has become potent rather than passive. What you hold back carries as much power as what you release. Like space between movements that gives rhythm its force, your restraint has grown into a source of undeniable strength. Silence is no longer emptiness, it is a vessel heavy with meaning, and its weight commands attention. This stillness carries wealth because it houses activation. Something hidden within you has stirred awake, a dormant capacity long waiting for its moment to emerge. It is not imagination. It is the rising of codes embedded deep within the human design, the unlocking of potential that has slept for generations, now awakened in you. Your system itself has begun to shift to accommodate new states of perception. Intuition operates like a heightened receiver, drawing in data beyond the boundaries of the ordinary mind. Patterns, alignments, and synchronicities flow into your path as signals. Encounters, numbers, and sudden resolutions are not random. They are the language of alignment, guiding you deeper into expanded terrain. The unease that sometimes comes is simply adjustment to frequencies greater than your body once carried. It is not weakness but recalibration, as the human aspect strives to keep pace with the expansion of the soul. The weight, the pressure, even the overwhelm are signs that more light is being held than ever before. Through trial, through transformation, through the alchemy of pain into strength, you have become something new. Every barrier transmuted into wisdom, every fear melted into courage, has rewired your very essence. What once was limitation has been refined into limitless potential. Now you move as living proof of what happens when old structures collapse and a new frequency takes hold, a signal so strong it reshapes everything around it. They realize the truth only when it's beyond their control. What stood before them was never weakness but a depth they couldn't measure, a connection they couldn't decode, a resilience they dismissed too quickly. By the time recognition dawns, the outcome has already been sealed. The question was never whether destiny favored you, it was whether you had the courage to claim it. Those who carry the deeper signal know what it feels like to be called into something greater. But recognition of the call means nothing without movement. This path doesn't reward passive spectatorship. It demands demonstration, living proof, and participation in currents larger than any individual. Transformation isn't absorbed through observation, it's activated through engagement. The collective gains its power not from solitary sparks but from convergence. When those aligned cross paths, resonance multiplies. Connection creates amplification. The hidden structures that sought to keep individuals isolated cannot withstand unified frequency. That is why unity has always been feared. It dismantles the illusion of separation that gave control its false strength. The shift underway isn't a clash of weapons but the unraveling of illusions. It shows how ineffective old tactics become against inevitability. The laws moving you forward cannot be bent or bribed. Those who once relied on manipulation or control strategies find themselves powerless, for you are no longer confined to their terrain. You've built sovereignty within, and that cannot be touched. Where others exhaust themselves in short-term conquests, you've entered the arena of continual expansion. Their loss isn't just about failure against you, it's about choosing to oppose the direction of life itself. No force can indefinitely resist the currents of growth. The outcome was determined not by your strength alone but by the unstoppable nature of evolution itself. Now the desperation shows. Their efforts no longer resemble strategy but flailing attempts to reclaim relevance. They push louder, strike harder, claim wildly, yet all of it reveals collapse rather than control. This is not renewed power, it is the noise of decline. Like echoes fading into silence, their grasp slips further with each frantic move. What you reveal now is the true essence of authority. It isn't the ability to dictate circumstances but to move in rhythm with forces that govern all circumstances. The end of the old order is not destruction but transition. Its final tremors are the signal of a new way rising, one rooted in abundance, connection, and consciousness. Your role isn't private triumph but visible embodiment of this shift, a demonstration to remind others that their power was never gone, only forgotten. To stand firmly in truth no matter how high you ascend is to embody a strength that cannot be bent by pressure or performance. Recognition doesn't just highlight the outcome of your journey, it reveals the trail you carved through invisible landscapes. Others can sense the pathways you've cleared, the markers of possibility etched into the fabric of human awareness. Visibility now serves as more than acknowledgement, it is guidance. Your emergence signals the shift from hidden refinement to open demonstration. Influence no longer threatens to distort you because you have built the resilience to carry it. The unseen training of inner discipline has equipped you to move with authority without being consumed by attention. You are prepared for this level of exposure because clarity within arrived before recognition without. The journey was never designed to remain hidden. It was meant to shine as evidence of what can happen when limitation is rejected. Your life itself has become a signpost, a reminder that human potential expands when met with unwavering conviction. The amplification of your presence now serves a larger intention. What once went unnoticed will be impossible to ignore. The attention you receive has nothing to do with vanity, it is the expansion of influence required to match your mission. Universal intelligence does not raise individuals for spectacle but for service, for shifting collective thought and awakening collective heart. Each increase in visibility corresponds directly to lives touched and perspectives altered. The secure foundation you've built ensures that what has begun cannot be undone. What once appeared as closed opportunities are being replaced by routes that didn't exist before, openings into entirely new dimensions of possibility. This isn't chance. It's the unfolding of higher law in motion. The approval stamped on your path exists at a level beyond human interference. What is inscribed in higher order cannot be erased by earthly resistance. The field you operate in has shifted, former boundaries dissolve, and experiences once considered miraculous now appear as natural expressions of alignment. Challenge still comes, but it arrives as refinement, not destruction. Even what was once labeled setback has transformed into raw material for growth. Every disappointment became leverage for something greater, every trial a crucible producing resilience. Your emergence is not isolated but woven into a greater movement, a planetary wave of awakening. The geometry of your journey proves nothing was wasted. Each detour, delay, and disruption was part of a larger symmetry, leading you to this precise moment of undeniable significance. You've been shaped into a vessel capable of holding immense scale, prepared for impact far beyond personal ambition. What you stand in now isn't a fleeting success or a lucky turn, it is the irreversible shift into a reality remade by your very presence. What once felt like struggling to belong has dissolved into the recognition that you were never meant to fit into what already existed. Your task was always to design what had never been seen. The introduction is complete, and the curtain has lifted on the true stage. Every trial, every lesson, every detour brought you to this threshold, not as punishment but as preparation. What appeared as struggle was scaffolding for a foundation strong enough to hold influence beyond your own life. The secure ground beneath you now is not the end of the journey but the opening to a much greater horizon. Your very existence is living contradiction to limitation. What most call impossible has become your natural terrain. By embodying this truth, you dismantle the false boundaries others accepted as permanent. You prove through embodiment, not theory, that expansion waits for anyone willing to step through fire and let transformation rewrite their being.